So how can you get more revenue to your business in the next 12 months? Well, ultimately it comes down to higher rankings, which get more traffic, which generate more leads. Now, there is one inherent problem with all of that, and it comes down to ultimately this one little secret, that your website is limited by the inventory that you have, thus not being able to rank for everybody at the bottom of the customer buying cycle. Now, let me explain this for 1 second. So when it comes to the customer buying cycle, everybody knows of all of the broad keyword phrases, right? So let's just say Phoenix, for example. If you're a dealership in Phoenix, you know that the most common keyword phrases are RV dealers Phoenix, RVs for sale Phoenix, and then you go a step lower, which would be like the class types, so travel trailers, motorhomes, fifth wheels, and so on. And then a level below that would be the specific brands before you get to the specific year, make, and model. Now, in order to generate more leads and more revenue, you want more visitors to your website at the bottom of the buying cycle. But the inherent problem that every single dealer has is that their website auto-generates all of the inventory that they have. Thus, you're limited by the traffic. You're limited on the traffic side because of the inventory that you have. Now, if you think of your business as taking up a specific pie, within the entire 100%, if you were to generate 100% of all of the sales, all of the traffic for, let's say, Phoenix, then you would have obviously all the sales. But in reality, there are multiple dealers in your local city, and you only take up a percentage of that. And if you want the very, very bottom of the funnel, you know that you're only taking up, let's just say 5 or maybe even 10% of the overall market. And thus that generates the problem, right? That your website is currently limited, your traffic and your overall revenue is limited by the traffic that you can actually generate. So there is a way around that. And this is the exact same strategy that we've actually built out for multiple dealers and all the dealers that we work with when it comes to the web service as well as SEO. And it comes down to this. We've worked with, for instance, Century RV. We took them from one location to 2 locations and increased their traffic using this strategy as well as a couple others to go to ultimately increase traffic 336% over 3 years, which helped lead to their buyout by Lazy Days RV for over $22 million. We use this exact same approach for American Family RV, where they went from 1 location to 3 locations. And were ultimately bought out by Brett's RV recently. And so we know that ultimately this strategy works. So let me give you a little breakdown into this strategy here. So if we get into exactly what I was talking about, that you are a percentage of your overall market. That, for instance, if you are, let's say, Worldwide RV in green here, that Worldwide RV has 1,300 roughly searches, and I brought this up using SEMrush, okay? And so if you're Worldwide RV here, you know that some of the other dealerships have a significant amount of the overall market. And you can see this gets into the analogy that I was given of that you are a percentage or a slice of the overall pie. And so how we can get through increasing traffic, how we can build and grow your business is by competition research. So seeing what it is that customers are actually searching for. So you can get the search volume here. You can get where your position or your actual ranking is for each one of those. And you can see it follows the exact same sort of thing, where you can see the actual search volume of 110, so to speak. And it's exactly what I was saying. So the very generic keyword phrases, so RVs in Arizona, travel trailers, used RVs in Phoenix. So these are all incredibly broad, right? So this is what we started doing with Century RV in order to start growing their traffic. When we built out their website, we wanted to build out content around the very, very bottom of the funnel, which means we needed to do comparison articles, comparisons into our RV compared to other RVs that we knew that were at the bottom of the market. So we can actually pull reports through SEMrush and all the other keyword tools out there to be able to see what your competitors' top RVs are, what generate the most revenue, the most traffic, and we do a comparison article of your RV versus their RV and let the customer decide the direction they want to go, and adding all the specs, the pros and cons and all of that, and then let the customer decide. That way, you're able to rank for all of the RVs that your competitors have at the very, very bottom of the funnel, in addition to your natural inventory. And so that's one of the ways that we're able to do that. And that was one of the things that we did with Century RV that helped them to actually generate more traffic and help them scale and grow. And if you look at their website here, we started adding some of these additional pages for other brands that they did not carry. And this is a huge way to go about increasing traffic and rankings. So let's get into one other avenue to increase traffic. Again, if we're talking about a specific pie, your pie is still limited by the location in which you reside, and thus coming the other limitation. So it's not only just the limitation of the inventory that you have on your site, but another limitation of the overall traffic and growth and revenue that your dealership can obtain is being able to rank for nearby cities. Now, I know that most web service companies are actually limited because of a conflict of interest, that they have multiple locations per within their branch or their network, that they can't do SEO for multiple locations in, let's just say, Phoenix. And so thus creating a massive conflict of interest. We don't do that. We just stick with one location or one dealership per location, so we don't have any conflict of interest, so that we can actually do this next phase, which is to be able to create city location pages for your dealership in nearby cities. So for instance, if you're in Denver, let's just say, and you want to be able to, like we did with Century RV, they were actually down in Longmont, which is about a 30-minute drive from Denver. So what we did is we created a Denver page, and we said a RV dealer near Denver. And so it was technically accurate. People from Denver inherently know that in Longmont, there is a massive grouping of dealerships there. I think there's like 7 or 8 dealers in this one little corner of the interstate. And so people from Denver inherently know that there are dealerships down in or up in Longmont. And so it was very natural to create a page for that, and that's literally exactly what we did. So when we went to their page, we said, okay, well, if this is their homepage, we want to do a city location page that is literally the exact same thing. And this is just their site. Yes, they were bought out. This is from archive.org, just keeping a historical reference of it, or they do. And so you can see their RV dealer, Denver RV dealers for sale. We have a lot of the inventory. Then we have RV dealer near Denver, and we have content. The Google map here is removed already. And then brands and stuff like that. And then we also created the news section, which is not there. Again, it's on archive.org. But within that is another avenue. Once you've actually maxed out, let's just say, the pie shape for, in this example with Century RV, they were in Longmont, Colorado, and they really maxed everything that we possibly could there with all of the competition keywords. Then we moved over to Denver, and that was an entirely massive market. And then after, I think, 12 months of them being in Denver, they opened a location there, which was another testament to increased growth and revenue. And that's what really started kicking off with all of the content. The additional location started increasing the traffic up to the 333%. And that was one of the hugest things for their buyout from Lazy Days, was the increased growth in traffic. And so when it comes down to your dealership, it comes down to creating a competition analysis. So taking a look at what it is that your competition is thriving at and competing with them with that. Let your customers decide what direction they want to go when they're at the bottom of the buying cycle. And so that is the biggest and the fastest way that you can actually increase traffic over the next 3 to 6 months, as well as increase leads, is by doing a competition analysis, number one, identifying your competitors' top RVs that they're selling, creating content around that, even doing videos as well. But it's really easy using AI in order to create versus articles and posting that within your blog and auto-generating that, and then obviously going through and moderating it and make sure that everything that's being written is actually just perfect. So if you guys need help with something like that, we're actually do a free market analysis which creates the versus comparison there. So let me show you exactly what that looks like here. So on this page, the competition analysis or the content gap actually shows like your dealership here, and then where you guys rank against your competitors and where they rank and the traffic, so that you can see the avenues that you need to generate content for in order to rank. So if this is something that you guys would be interested in, we only take one dealer per location. So fill out the form below and see if your location is available.